Now, guys, as we were saying about paro non inglese, that how Europe is moving on to connecting to their local language and to connect to the consumers from the heart, because the connect with the local language is more than that of English. So we would do a part of this video in Hindi. So please, friends from the other countries, please stay on there. Please hang on there. We will do most of it in English, but we will also bring in our native feel while we connect to the consumers. All right, Shweta, thank you. Akshat, hey. Okay, so uh, coming back to the topic, now that it's 10 p.m., we start. And first we come to what is entrepreneurship. All right. Okay, this is Abhilash here, and this is Aditi.
Hi
Hello, good
everyone.
to have all of you here. Ashish, good to have you here. Okay, so entrepreneurship, let me put it in very simple terms. Now you have a situation, and you look in that situation, the worries. I mean, average man would look at the worries, at the problems, at the anxiousness of it. Whereas from the same situation, an entrepreneur looks at its possibilities and its solution. So it is just that transition of thinking from a normal thinking to that thinking of the possibilities and the solution, which makes an entrepreneurial mindset. Previously, we used to say that philanthropy is like giving big amounts of money for help. No more. When we say that we give a life changing solution, or we give a solution for the world, for a better place to live in, that is philanthropy. I am sure some of you must be following Naveen Jain, that how is it that he has even defined philanthropism and entrepreneurship to be the same. So let's carry on. So if an entrepreneur is supposed to give a solution and looks at the various possibilities, where does the money come from? How does he sustain? Well, very simple. He gives the value through his product or service or experience. And the money is just the exchange of that. There is no need to chase for the money. He's creating a value, and the connection is the new currency. I repeat, the connection is the new currency. And who gives this money now? The money is actually being given by the consumers, the customers. Mind it, not the users, yeah? So users are the ones who are there with you, okay, but they may or may not buy your product or service or experience, so they're users. So consumers are the ones who are your paid users. They become your customers. Now, previously we used to hear about B2B, B2C, B2BC, that the books are getting sold. Where are they getting sold? They are getting sold B2C. When you have stationery, sometimes school stationery, B2B. Now, a good friend comes up with a healthy food or a healthy bar, which she keeps in the shop. So it becomes a B2BC. But now we don't talk in this business terms at all. We talk about a P2P. Yes, Murlidhar, hi. Okay, so if I'm missing out someone, please I'll keep on checking. Now, when you Google P2P, you would see it's more like a peer-to-peer, like you're connecting from a computer to a computer or a file or to a file. But no, a P2P is basically a people-to-people connect. Now, how do we go for this P2P connect? There are different ways of going about it. But tonight, we talk about how we are all naturally wired to storytelling. Okay, so this is where Abhilash is going to come in. Before that, yes, Shilpa, hello, hi. Okay, so before that, let's have an example of Steve Jobs' fascinating, captivating stories. What launched was Apple. Apple is less of a product, it's more of an experience, right? There is a whole ecosystem which has been built around Apple. Let's take the example of Adidas. Before going to that, yes, Gurvinder saying hello, thanks for joining in. So in Adidas, they came up with this campaign called She Breaks Barriers. She Breaks Barriers. So the women athletes, their limitations, their stories, and their inspiration, that was a consumer generated content which brought Adidas from one level to the next level. Now let's come up with an example of Reese. Now this particular company has actually told its customers in the form of stories that why do you not be proud of whatever body shape and size you have? Body positivity and body acceptance. And they had a lot of stories, pictures, everything built from the consumers. So this consumer generated content became the story of Aries, and today it is valued as a $1 billion organization. All these organizations have taken an alternate way of storytelling and not a typical noise making advertising and a 30-second ad, irrespected ad, and a pop up system. All right. Okay, so let me just check in between who all are there. Preeta, thanks. So nice to see you. And remember to smile when I see you here. Okay, is that Rakhi there? I saw Rakhi there in somewhere. Yeah. Rakhi, if you're there, please say hi. So I've given you some examples, some international examples of P2P Connect, of course. Now I'm going to give you some example of the recent ones, maybe last week. Yes. Hey, Dhruvisha. Yes, Rakhi, you are here. Okay. So I'll give an example of Rakhi here, now that she's here. I remember recently what she did was she has put up a story. We discussed, all right? We discussed and we said, she mentioned she had that emotional outburst. And I mentioned, put it out, talk your heart out, break it down into little forms and put it up on the FB. Right, Rakhi? So what was the result, Rakhi? Can you please, hey, here's Sehani. Yeah. Okay, Rakhi, so what was the result of, did you put the story out on FB, correct? Did you do that? Your own story, your own life story. Okay, maybe there is a lag in the transmission, Abhishek. So we continue. So as far as I remember, yes, Jogesh, hello, good for joining in. So I do not remember the exact number. Rakhi, if you can just type in. Arvind, hello. Yeah, love to you, Nisha too. So Rakhi's story on FB had brought a traction of about 200, 300 comments and likes. Uh, I am not aware what exactly was the number. Rakhi, if you're there, if you can just write. Yeah, Neeraj, yeah, Vikram, hello. Yeah, okay. So what happened was Rakhi's story had been an inspiration to a lot of people ahead. All right, today she's a certified health coach. When she poured out her story, her transformation has reached a different gamut of people. Now, I would also like to bring, I think I see Hina here. Hello, Hina. Yeah, Kavita, if you are there, I think we discussed and you had put your story up on Facebook also, correct? If so, please put this down. Now, these are Kavita's, again, Kavita's response was huge. It was massive. It was so massive. Today, she has a referral of 100 clients who want to work with her. And this woman was actually in the cave in a victim mode completely. So these were just the little examples of what we were doing last time. Now, before I go to Abhilash, Kavita, and if you're here, please do write down what kind of interaction you had after your story. Uh, I want to use this Chinese word which they call VG, WEI, VG. I may be wrong in the pronunciation. If you have a friend from China, please go ahead and correct me. Now, V means the danger. Yeah. G is the opportunity. Okay, so the opportunity in the danger. Now, business is not as usual, business as unusual. Storytelling has become more important now. I want to now take Abhilash, who would be completely talking about stories. He is building silent and strong stories for people and for brands, one on one. We are very happy to have him. He's spontaneous, he's raw, he's real. Please, Abhishek, please come in. Okay, before you start, Abhishek, can I please ask you that why and to whom this storytelling is important?
थैंक यू फॉर द जेस्चर. सो मैं शुरुआत करता हूँ कहानियों की. मतलब क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है इसका ये कहना कि सिर्फ कुछ चीज़ों के लिए है. तो सबसे पहले जो एक नोशन होता है ना कि कहानियाँ सिर्फ बच्चों के लिए है, सो दैट इज़ अ नोशन कि कहानियाँ सबसे ज़्यादा बच्चों के लिए है. लेकिन अगर हम फैक्ट्स देखें तो अराउंड मैक्सिमम ऑफ द स्टोरीज आर कंज्यूम्ड बाय एडल्ट्स. एंड अगर मैं सिर्फ कहानियों के रेस्पॉन्सेस की बात करूं कि कहाँ कहाँ वो यूज़ आती हैं, सो इट इज़ नॉट ओनली जस्ट फॉर द पर्पज़ ऑफ टेलिंग द स्टोरीज टू द चिल्ड्रंस, और कि सिर्फ बातें करना, वो कहानियाँ नहीं हैं. कहानियाँ वो हैं जो इम्पैक्ट करती हैं. जस्ट फॉर एन एग्ज़ाम्पल, एक बहुत पुराना ऐड है जो सबको याद होगा, निरमा का ऐड था, वॉशिंग पाउडर निरमा. सो उसकी बहुत रिदमिक लाइन थी उसकी, जया और सुषमा सबकी पसंद निरमा. बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं वो एक नोशन रहा था, वो एक थॉट रहा था. सो इफ़ यू आस्क अबाउट कि किसके लिए स्टोरीज़ हैं या कौन उन्हें सबसे ज़्यादा कंज्यूम करता है, आई थिंक एवरी वन. बट सबसे ज़्यादा जो इम्पोर्टेंट है वो कंज्यूमर्स, investors, and the people around. So, since this talk is all about entrepreneurs and businesses, we'll talk about how storytelling is impacting business, how storytelling is impacting entrepreneurship, specifically people and the product. It is not only product and services, it is more about people. So we'll talk थोड़ा और डेप्थ में जाएंगे तो पता लगेगा कि हाँ, कहानियाँ सिर्फ बच्चों के लिए नहीं है, सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट हमारे लिए है. एंड आई विल मेक श्योर कि बाय द एंड ऑफ दिस सेशन दिस फैक्चुअल थिंग, दिस फैक्ट will turn out to be a great story for everyone who will be watching. So I can guarantee
Cool.
that.
Okay, but Abhilash, let's connect it to entrepreneurship now. How do the stories help entrepreneurs?
So let's take any example. Let's take an example for any startup. So किसी भी स्टार्टअप के लिए अगर इन्वेस्टर हम ढूंढते हैं, सो विल लुक आउट फॉर पीपल who can invest money in the your idea. It is not only about the product and services, it is about the idea, it is about the vision, it is about how you are able to picturize that particular idea into a different format. Because जब तक इन्वेस्टर अपनी आंखों के सामने वो पूरी की पूरी पेंटिंग नहीं देखेगा ना, he will not invest in that particular thing, and that is 100% sure. Because let's take an example of द न्यू स्टार्टअप्स राइट नाउ. जो आजकल जो नए स्टार्टअप्स आते हैं इंडिया में, वो क्या बात करते हैं कि दिस आइडिया इज़ समथिंग लाइक अमेज़ॉन इंडिया, लाइक अमेज़ॉन. बट जब अमेज़ॉन नहीं था, जब अली बाबा नहीं था, तो उस टाइम उन्होंने वो किस तरीके से पेंट किया होगा. सो अगेन दैट्स अ थॉट. तो उस चीज़ को वो पेंट करना, उस पूरे आइडिया को एक फॉर्मेट में पेंट करना, बताना, that is something that draws the attention of investors. Then only they will invest in your product and services, then only they will invest in your idea, and then only you will make it big. That is just the first step. Other than that, the most you know टॉपिक जो बहुत ज़्यादा सबके दिमाग में रहता है, इट इज़ ऑल अबाउट डिसीजन. कि हाउ थिंग्स आर इम्पैक्टिंग योर डिसीजन मेकिंग. स्टोरी टेलिंग इज, आप मानो या ना मानो, इट इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट proven and already a thought provoking storytelling formats, not only written forms but more of storytelling. It impacts your decision like crazy.
And if I go with the figures, it is again huge, because if I go into scientific term, so it is about mainly, you have a left mind and a right mind. I will not go into the technicalities, but just a simple fact, around 70% of the things are still driven by emotions, and only 30% of things are still driven by the facts and figures. So it is more about emotions, and emotions are driven by stories. So yes, stories for everyone, and for business makers, entrepreneurs, and for the people around. It is much, much more than just storytelling.
On this, Abhilash, I remember, of course, I've done my MBA from the Wharton School, the US, Penn, but otherwise, Professor Gerald in Harvard Business School, he has a particular study. 97 percentage of our decisions is made from our emotions, from our
100%.
subconscious mind.
Correct.
He has a whole document on that. How is it that most of our decisions are taken from our subconscious mind, where we are already wired?
Yeah. Just take an example for even in your personal life also. When we take decision, it is mainly based on your emotions. It could be sadness, it could be angry, it could be anything. So it is mainly driven by the emotions. And what triggers emotion? Then one of the best thing what triggers emotion is storytelling. एंड इट इज नॉट टुडेज स्टोरी टेलिंग, इट्स मतलब मैं अगर कहूँ तो ये जमाने से चला आ रहा है, मेरे दादा दादा के दादा पे। देयर वाज अ टाइम अगेन, जब आग के किनारे, आग के आसपास हम बैठते थे, तो सिर्फ कहानियां सुनाई जाती थी। सिर्फ कहानियां इसलिए सुनाई जाती थी क्योंकि वहीं से एक कम्युनिकेशन होना था। वी आर लकी इनफ कि वी हैव टेक्निकल एप्स हैं, पर पहले ऐसा कुछ नहीं था। तब हम इर्द गिर्द ही लोगों से कहानियां सुनते थे, एंड दैट कंज्यूम्स लाइक एनीथिंग, and that delivers something extraordinary for the products and services, and even for the religious purpose, even politics, everything involves storytelling, but specifically branding, that is one of the things. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Vamsi. I think, Umesh, it's lovely to have you over. We have one of the most premium architect, entrepreneur from the heart, a celebrity entrepreneur and an architect, Umesh, here also with us. Yes. Okay. So we carry on. Well, yes, we want to know now, Abhilash, more. If we don't tell stories, what happens?
So it is like, if you are not a great storyteller, it will not only impact your life, but eventually if you have a great product, if you have a great product and still you are not able to reach out to people, that means your story is something needs to be taken care of. That is one thing. You might lose market which can be reached just because of the stories, because कई बार stories viral हो जाती हैं. So if the stories got viral, sometimes the product and services touch those markets that even the manufacturer have not thought of. So that is the one aspect. And again, when stories goes viral, that means that emotion is viral. That means your budget in marketing is getting down, and eventually your sales is going up because of one of the, you know the most trusted marketing option, that is word of mouth. People recommend you your story. People recommend not only stories, through stories your product and services. Just take an example of MRF. I didn't remember कि MRF किस चीज का था. I just remember MRF because of Sachin Tendulkar. That is one of the fact. So this is one of the reason. And if I take an example, let's take an example for dairy milk. So इसके पीछे एक बहुत अलग कहानी है, बिकॉज इन इंडिया, हम फैमिली के साथ खाना खाने बाहर जाते हैं, तो खाना खाने के बाद क्या होता है कि सब बोलते हैं कि कुछ मीठा हो जाए, राइट? एंड दैट्स द टैगलाइन ऑफ डेयरी मिल्क. बट हाउ इट केम इनटू अ माइंड ऑफ अ कॉपीराइटर, हाउ इट केम इनटू अ माइंड ऑफ अ कंटेंट राइटर हु हैव रिटन दिस मास्टरपीस एक्चुअली, वो हुआ ऐसे कि जब वो खाना खाने गए अपने परिवार के साथ, तो इट वॉज मोर ऑफ खाना खाने के बाद सबने बोला था, ऐसा नहीं कि दैट वॉज द फर्स्ट टाइम. इट वॉज लाइक हंड्रेड्स एंड थाउजेंड ऑफ फैमिलीज हमेशा यही कहते हैं कि खाना खाने के बाद कुछ मीठा हो जाए. He took that particular line, and that line differentiate the whole story of a dairy milk, and that dairy milk shifted from the shelf of a chocolate to a sweet stores, because वो उस तरीके से बेचा गया या फिर उस तरीके से सेल आउट किया गया, उस तरीके से परोसा गया. So that was important, and the emotion triggered was very simple. कुछ खाने के बाद कुछ मीठा हो जाए, and that gives immense sales to dairy milk. And if you go to right now to any sweet shop, you will have a dairy milk also there. So that means chocolate अब sweets में आने लग गई. That is one of the factor. So that's the reason storytelling is important. And for especially for public speakers, especially specifically for coaches and speakers, if you are
Yeah,
not a great
Abhilash,
story.
we have some
Yeah.
requests because we have
Yeah.
number of people overseas more
Okay.
joining. We have Renee, we have Kamal. Hello to all of them. Vamsi, hello. Yeah, so these people are requesting. We have people from Johannesburg, and they are all requesting to speak in English. So this last portion
Sure.
of Cadbury's, if you can quickly put it in 2 lines for our
Okay.
overseas
So
participants. Yeah.
just an example. To be very honest, emotion है ना हिंदी में ही बाहर आएंगे, लेकिन still I will go with English. So the story of dairy milk is like just when people go outside in a restaurant just to eat food, after finishing the food they ask for a sweet, and that is a very normal tendency for every human being. But when it comes just a line, that was a line in Hindi, that is खाने के बाद कुछ मीठा हो जाए, that means let's have a sweet after food. And that was a brand changing line, a storyline for dairy milk, and that content writer or a copywriter picked that line from his observation and you know make that brand to a next level. So that is one of the factors. So, and secondly, I talk about specifically for public speakers, coaches, and speakers. If you are not a great storyteller, that means you are missing an ingredient or a basic pillar for growing in particular this field. Or even you are a corporate leader or you are a corporate manager, everywhere you need stories to tell about. Let's take an example. Why we remember Swami Vivekanand, why we remember Tony Robbins, why we remember you know other great storytellers, not only in business, not only in spiritual, but overall, even the great managers. Why just Aditi just told about Steve Jobs, right? Again, he is a great storyteller, because in the end he talks about more of the his or own stories, that is again 70% stories, only 30% facts, and that's the exact factual figures. So if you are not involving your stories, that means you are impacting your own business, you are impacting your own brand, and eventually you are not able to engage the people because they connect with the vulnerability and the authenticity of the story, not just only the words. It is not only about words, it is about you know placing the stories with the truth, क्योंकि सिर्फ बातें करना is not a storytelling. So that's it.
So here for all our friends, you could check to sproutsocial.com is one of the very a place from where you would be getting authentic data. So we have sproutsocial.com where it gives very authentic and very factual data on different things, especially on the entrepreneurs and the internet. And it clearly says that 91% of the consumers connect to a direct story. Please check sproutsocial.com, apart from Professor Zilgar, which I mentioned about his whole entire report from Harvard Business Review. Sorry, from Harvard Business School. Okay, now the customer journey is basically, it starts from awareness, and then it goes to an action, then it goes to an advocacy. So we call it the whole spectrum of the customer journey. So awareness or being conscious, the whole emotional drive, the connect to the deep human desire is built very effectively through the story. As I mentioned, for the people who actually, hey Shashank, it's nice to have you here in the evening. We are going to have very soon with him. Yeah, so as we were telling the story of Adidas, that at that point of time, such a big organization, while competing with Puma and Nike, they built on this story of she breaks her barriers. Only on the consumer generated content on how the women athletes are actually crossing their limitations and building their stories. And then Adidas made a great pivot around the story building. So it's very important to get the stories at the awareness level, which again influences from the subconscious level for the consumers to take the action to buy the product. And then at the advocacy level, what happens is you have your private groups, you have your forums, and you advocate, and your consumers and the consumer generated content, they already become a part of your brand culture. Now, when we say for this brand, it not only means about your entrepreneurship brand or even a big business house brand or even a personal brand. All right. So here, there are three things which I would like to mention. What is it that people want to hear from the CEOs or from the company? New product or services, the interest level is very high, or new concepts, not like in a salesy and a preachy format, but new concepts and stories which inspire. So on this context, I bring back to Abhilash again. So Abhilash, what do you say if we don't say stories, or if the entrepreneurs and business people and the coaches, speakers, authors, if they don't tell stories, what happens? What is the loss?
To be very honest, it's a big loss, not only just for the sake of business. As simple as that, your business is as personal as your stories. जितनी stories personal है उतना ही business personal है. और जब उस तरीके से आप कहीं पे भी you will connect with people, they will get to know. And the biggest misconception about, you know, storytelling, or you can say about the people listening to these things, is that should be, you know, flashy or something extraordinary, but that's not true. People are still looking for very ordinary things. What entrepreneurs or people think that they need an extraordinary story or an extraordinary write-up or extraordinary speaking skills, but that's not true. They really rely on very authentic and vulnerable things, and which are directly your stories, and that cannot be taught through a different medium, that will be coming from your heart. And that's the biggest plus point of storytelling. It cannot be preached. It is something that comes truly from your heart. And when it comes to business, let's take an example of any product and services. If someone is, you know, taking a thought of that particular business, that means that is very personal to him or her. That means that particular thought or the business idea is directly or indirectly related to some personal story. And that's how, you know, people build their own brand stories. That's how people build their own stories around their programs, around their, you know, product and services, and even for startups.
Okay, so you mean to say that the logo is no more in vogue? The branding is no more in vogue. It's just the story and the personality. Well, one thing let me share with you, Abhilash, and all the friends here. A business really needs to figure out, or entrepreneurship. Here, entrepreneurship, our business is not money making. It is solving a particular problem or making a life changing solution or seeing the possibilities. Of course, the money is the exchange of the value of the service for the people who have joined later. I repeat this portion. So, businesses need to define very well what they stand for and what they do not stand for. That's a firm stance, that what they do not stand for. And it is not that the business houses or the entrepreneurs or the personal brands need to say that, but they need to live it. How do you think the stories with some examples can help the entrepreneurs to do this?
So if I talk about particularly about logo, so again, storytelling was still changing, but when it comes, every medium, every communication medium has been changing from last few years, specifically from last decade. But if you talk about the storytelling, it's the format remains the same. It is again connecting people to people. It is not connecting someone else, or it is not still, you know, AI formed. It is still not automated, and it cannot be automated, because in the end, what gives is experienced, and experience cannot be lied. And if that experience is built, let's take an example for any brand, or let's take an example for a filmy movie. A great movie everyone remembered is Sholay, but the basic ingredient of Sholay is all about friendship. It's all about do dosto ki dosti, right? So it was a movie around that particular emotion. And after, I guess, I think that movie was released when I was not born, so it is more than 30 years, I guess. So it's again a big hit, and still people do remember, and still it will go like crazy, because ये same कहानियाँ I will, you know, मैं कहीं ना कहीं किसी और को सुनाऊंगा with a different aspects. So that's the power of story if you build around your own brand. And if your story is not authentic, and that is not directly related to your brand or product and services, and it is just for the sake of gaining, you know, just the traffic for the sales, it will not last for a long
Cool.
run. It will not last.
Completely agree.
So,
Okay, guys, now please, we will just cover maybe 1 to 2 more points. We
sure.
really don't want to talk so much, both me and Abhilash. We
Correct.
want to interact with all of you. Please type in your specific questions and answers. Please, quickly, I want some few chat boxes. Yes, Shweta, that's cool. We heard it. Can you please type on your questions and answers by the time? Let me Please type in. Yeah, please type in. Cool. So let me give the example of Glossier. This has been, again, a very upmarket luxury brand. And you see what it did was, it said skin first, product later. Yeah.
Right.
So we have the brown skin, the black skin, the very white skin, the white skin, different kinds of skin, the richer skin. What did the consumers do, Abhilash? The brand involved all the consumers to showcase their skin without any shame, and then came the product of the makeup or the gloss or the touch-up. See, Glossier it's made a mark in that $485 billion industry just through the power of storytelling of its own consumers. Yeah, so do we have any questions here? Yes, Sunny? Hi. Okay, so if we are waiting for questions here, please. And we have a surprise. And yes, storytelling is also like a very consistent habit. What do you say, Abhilash? It's like a babysitter, right?
It
You need
is
to take
important.
care of it for a long period of
And
time.
I just want to add one point. You just talk about particular brand, and that's the trend in India right now. Gone are those days when, you know, Fair and Lovely is only talking about just fair things, or just the flashy things. Now people are connecting with the right set of things, that they are living it, that they are consuming it, that they are affecting it, and that's the reason even the all the ads and even all the videos, even in movie industry, everything is now related to very ordinary things, not thinking of a different thing altogether, not thinking in terms of, you know, it just कि एक मूवी की तरह होनी चाहिए. It is not like extraordinary write up or extraordinary story. It is now more of authenticity with the things they have suffered, and they want to give that particular, you know, uh, solution to it, and that is through a normal, a very ordinary story that everyone is going through. So that's it.
Yeah, so what about the example of Nirma, right? Did you
Yeah,
mention
Nirma.
that?
Yeah, I just mentioned about the Nirma. The same concept remains the same. I mentioned earlier also.
Okay, so even for Head and Shoulders, they say men are men. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they distribute the whole story around it, a very subtle and blended message through the
correct.
story of reaching to the consumers. So, guys, we have a little surprise. Abhilash is there on Facebook. I'm there. If you have any new idea, any dream, if you're already having a business which needs a pivot because of the tough times and you need help with storytelling or with story writing, please do get in touch with us. We have no commercials, we have no cost attached to it. We would be happy to help. We
Right.
really love a whole group of entrepreneurs making life changing solutions, making the world a better place to live in. All right. And anything else? I think I had waved and welcomed everyone. I do not know if I've missed out anyone. Abhilash?
No, no worries. And a big thank you to everyone who have
Yes, yes. Any
watched.
questions? We stay for the
And just,
parties.
yeah, I
Yes,
just want
please.
to give one thing. I already mentioned after the end of this particular session, you will get a one story, not a factual fact. So just remember this one thing, the whole thing. So let's say the people who are listening to this, they have an experience when they write out, or when they will tell the same thing about something else to someone else. Everyone has a different and a unique experience, and that is what the storytelling is. The fact is that we are going live for almost 30 minutes or odd, but the most important thing is now, when it comes to, you know, giving this experience to a different people through your words and emotion, that will be a storytelling. So this factual event will be turned into a story format for everyone and for every person in this particular tribe, and it will help you in growing like anything. That's all.
So,
Thank you all
Avinash,
for.
there is a question from
Yeah,
Khushbu. She asks, who decides on the authenticity of the story? So, we have some more people, like we have Swapnil and Sandeep, but however, we are almost ending our session. We keep it
sure.
crisp. We want to give as much value as possible within that 30 to 45 minutes. So, I'm really sorry, but if you're really interested, recorded version. All right, so here, as I believe what has been said about authenticity is that you are true to yourself. Authenticity is to yourself. You do not need to prove the authenticity to others. It's the truth, your own authenticity. That's what I believe. But Abhilash, could you please answer
Yeah.
Kushbu's question?
So, just to add one point, what people think about storytelling is just, you know, talking about things that fascinate people और that will thrive people. हिंदी में से बोलते हैं कि वो बहुत फेंक रहा है. That is one of the thing that people goes in their own mind कि that's something fascinating, a fictional thing, or maybe that is not related to anyone. But when you add the real truthness, a truth to any story format, and it could be related to your own story or maybe inspired from someone else's story, that adds the validation to themselves already, because that is a truth that is told in a better way is already authentic, that no need of, you know, validation for it. And adding, by just giving one example, there is a very viral video about a very short video. There is a beggar who has written, "I am blind, please help," and people are going around him and they are giving some amount of money. One of the lady just came across and just changed the words. "Today is a beautiful day, but I can't see. Please help." And the number of people giving money out of their pocket was extremely different, because that was the truth told in a different, in a better way. Because that beggar put I first, and that's the biggest, you know, biggest thing कि हर इंसान अपने आप को पहले रखना चाहे, and that is not the thing. He was coming from a background of different emotion, but when that lady put in the same board with a thought, "Today is a beautiful day," that means we are special, that we are living and we are seeing that day, and he is not able to do that. And then that the whole emotion changed, and that's the reason the outcome changed. So that is the reason, if the truth is told in a very authentic way, it is authentic. There is no need of validation for it. It might take time to brand yourself for a long run, but it will last for forever because stories never dies. People do.
It's an asset. I think it's an asset for life, that the
Right.
whole story when it comes out. I would like to put to all of you one word in the chat, that what is the opposite of courage? Can I have a few people, Kushbu, or someone else, Nisha? What is the opposite of courage? I think my slag, Abhilash, I'm having a time slag getting the messages.
Sure.
Yeah. Imran, hi. Yeah. What is the opposite of courage? You're waiting. Can we have some replies, please? Yes. Okay. What else? Okay, so a lot of people say fear. Yeah, Anish, correct. Uh, okay. All Nightingale says, yeah, Dhruvisha, fear. Kavita, yes. Okay. So the other word, the opposite of courage, we say is conformity. Conformity, conforming to what the society is expecting us to do, conforming to the way we have been brought up, conforming. Hey Manish, hello, good to have you here. Conforming the way we said that, okay, we have to get up in the morning because we are going to work. Because why are you going for work? Because everyone else goes to work. That is a conformity. A conformity because I have to do this because that is what expected of me. It could be society, it could be someone else. So the opposite of courage, as Earl Nightingale in the 70s, he says it is conformity. When we do not conform and we come out with that one story which stays true to us, we make a difference. So today, we as an Abhilash also, when we are working on entrepreneurs with no money, entrepreneurs with just a big dream or a big idea, which we are translating to tangible products or services or experience. The first step starts with the storytelling. It was really good to have Abhilash today,
Thank you.
to have you here. Tomorrow, we have a friend from Japan, Jyoti, who's going to tell us what is a very good way of building the foundation of an entrepreneurship, which really can build value and can sustain for long. So he's going to tell us the whole concept of ikigai, and you're going to hear it from a Japanese person. He's an artist and an entrepreneur. He's an artist from his heart. Day after, we are going to have a Spanish entrepreneur who's going to join us, who's going to tell us just by a side hustle or by a hobby, how can you turn to an entrepreneur? So it's lovely. We are going to go live
Thank you.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We love to see you all here. I wish we would have had a lot more energies. I think the energy started building up only typing towards the end. And yes, Abhilash is innovative. He's a great storyteller in great places of Rajasthan and in Mumbai. He has been invited for spontaneous storytelling. He's silently and strongly building on personal to entrepreneurship and business brands to make their stories, their taglines, and to make the whole person behind the brand to connect, to make that people to people connect. So we end tonight's
Yeah.
session on connection is the new currency, not networking, but deep human connection is the new currency. Yeah, so this is for entrepreneurship. Thanks all of you.
Thank you.
Yes, Jai Chandra Sahani, hi. Abhilash, it was really nice to have you over.
Yeah.
Chola, it's been late as usual. You missed the session. So whoever required will send a recorded one. All right. Bye.
Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Yes, bye. Good night so much.